This moving gathering of seniors aged 90 and over is not just a reunion. It is an event to mark a seminal operation that changed the face of the Middle East about 70 years ago.
This was essentially the beginning of the modern Israeli army.
Residents of the new communities established along the border essentially said, "We have no security." People also started to flee, abandoning these communities, and Israel saw this reality as a strategic threat.
The climax was at Tel Mutula, where the IDF made every possible mistake, fighting for 4 days to remove a few Syrians. And then, in the end, Yigal Yadin, the then Chief of Staff, gave medals to the 2 commanders of the incident to erase the embarrassment.
Later, Israel, then led by Prime Minister Moshe Sharett, decided not to retaliate, but a series of incidents, including the infiltration of a secret facility in Rishon LeZion, tipped the balance.
There were essentially 2 camps in Israel. Moshe Sharett, who said, "Talk, negotiate. One day we will reach peace." David Ben-Gurion, and especially Chief of Staff Moshe Dayan, thought differently, namely, strike back with force.
Ariel Sharon was recruited for the mission, then a young officer, commander of the legendary Unit 101, which had carried out smaller operations also behind enemy lines. The paratrooper battalion commanded by Sharon was divided into 5 companies. Their goal was to raid a military camp, a water facility, and a train station in the heart of the Gaza Strip.
We assembled near Kibbutz Mefarsim. Sharon gathered everyone, showed a map of the place, told us what had happened, what was going to happen, and we left. There was a sign marking the border with a furrow like that. We crossed it, and as we crossed it, someone on the hill ahead of us shouted, "Who goes there?" It was an outpost we didn't know existed. We charged up, shooting. The border is right below. You can actually see it. Do you see that bright line? That's the border. We were sitting here at the edge of the orchard. We were sitting in columns. We were very tired from the training that had taken place before. Everyone was asleep. Sufafo, who was at the front, came out. This is the railroad that ran from Gaza to the north. We crossed the railroad tracks and started walking in the canal alongside the tracks. A man was walking on the train tracks, wearing a white shirt with some sort of bag. And he's walking on the tracks and we're sitting below. He saw us, turned his head, continued walking. As he passed, we broke in. Then we blew up the fence. We had to get into the camp. And that camp, we didn't know there were 2 separate camps.
The lack of intelligence led to a change in plan. The mission became complicated.
The original assessment was that the Egyptian army would not suffer many casualties. That wasn't the intention. We're talking about almost 50 Egyptians dead, which was truly unprecedented since 1948. And the Egyptian regime, of course, had no option but to respond. And on the other hand, there was a very large number of casualties on our side.
When we came at them, they started shooting. The first burst was low and hit me in the stomach, and I collapsed on the road. Sufafo ran 2 more steps and was hit in the head, and he was killed alongside me like that. When they were carrying me, I was conscious the whole time that they wouldn't take me on their trucks. We arrived in Israel. They lined up the dead. I was with the dead. I was dead number 9. The doctor decided I was dead. They put me with the dead. And the doctor, Dr. Shochet, did another review of the dead. He looked closely and saw that one of the dead had moved a little. The ambulances didn't arrive. They took the wrong turning. They put me on the front of the command car. He told them, "Go to Kaplan Hospital."
The operation claimed the lives of about 8 soldiers and serves as a stepping stone in Israel's retaliatory operations. A series of military operations behind enemy lines that culminated in Operation Kadesh, the Sinai campaign about a year later. The Israeli media was supportive of the operation, but Israel was criticized abroad.
There were incidents along the border for years, and suddenly here in Israel changing the rules of the game and acting in a very significant and dramatic way. And of course, there was suspicion that Israel was looking for a deterioration leading to war, which later turned out to be true.
This is the first time since October 7 that Uri has returned to the memorial near Kibbutz Nir Am, adjacent to Gaza.
Always brings back memories. Very deep, let's say.
A visit to the area doesn't end at the memorial to Operation Black Arrow. On the morning of October 7, Uri's granddaughter, Eden Alon Levy, was killed in the battle for the Zikim outpost. Eden was a training instructor and fought at the guard post outside the base.
The team entered the post with her, and then a battle began with the terrorists who came from the sea. And they actually tried to break in here. They were determined to enter, and the soldiers barricaded themselves, and a battle began. There were, all 6 of them, inside this position. With the terrorists facing them, a battle was going on. She called us in the morning about 7:30, something like that, and said they were being shot at and they were fighting. At 8:30, she sent a WhatsApp saying, "I love you," and that's the end of the contact. But the terrorists couldn't get in, and the base remained closed.
Was Operation Black Arrow a failure or a success? Opinions are divided. Historically, the operation is considered a real turning point in which the IDF moved from defense to offense, initiating and surprising the enemy. Later, the survivors of the operation would assume key positions in the Israeli leadership, among them Motta Gur, who became the IDF Chief of Staff, and Ariel Sharon, who became Prime Minister. From a historical perspective, it's hard not to feel a sense of frustrating repetition in the region as the guns of war continue to roar.